Hello and welcome to the Monroe Method Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 176. So I had to check there. 176. I've been trying all week to record a podcast episode. My dad has been doing a lot of work in the garden. New fence up, old fence down, sawing, cutting, making a racket. He is away out this morning. I have peace and quiet. To talk. Do you know, I had a chat with a nutritionist friend last week, and we were talking about social media and how, you know, the kind of stuff that she and I share gets, like, Instagram just doesn't push it to anyone, like barely anyone sees it, you know, and then you've got people who are less qualified talking absolute nonsense. But because their stuff's like so triggering and so extreme, Instagram's like, yeah, let's show this to everybody, because this is in case you don't know, like the way Instagram works or the way the algorithms work, it's basically what videos are making people spend the most amount of time inside this app, right? Ultimately, that is Facebook, Instagram, all of them, right? It's their goal is to get you onto their app and spend as much time as possible. That is the sole mission of the people running social media, okay? More, you know, it's how they measure success. It's like how they measure, you know, like a supermarket might measure their, like, footfall. You know, how many people did we get through the door? How can we get more people through the door? What offers do we need to put on? Because they know that once they get people in, they're going to spend money. It's the same when it comes to social media, right? They want to get you in, so they send you notifications. It's even worse now. People get notifications through to their Apple Watches and whatever. How can we get people into this app as often as possible to spend as much time as possible and then place the most interesting content that they usually engage with in front of their eyes? Because the more time you spend on social media, the more ads can be put in front of your face. And every time, you know, as someone who runs ads, I know that every time an ad is shown to someone, I get charged for that. So they make money the more time you spend. Therefore, let's push the content that gets people spending the most amount of time on here. And we were having a chat about how, you know, one of the challenges, something she's finding challenging that I used to find challenging, is how do you say what you want to say in a very short piece of, you know, video? How do you get a complex topic into a 60-second, 90-second reel? Something I often fail at. They usually run for a couple of minutes. And, you know, and she's recently started a podcast as well. I was like, podcasts, that's my opportunity to get out all the long stuff that I want to say, the stuff that I want to get into and talk about. And that gives me my kind of long form, my long form content fix. Then I can get back to the small stuff. I think I am going to talk about, I'm looking at my phone trying to decide what I want to speak about. Let's talk about this, okay? So I don't know where I said that. I put it in a reel, but I said it somewhere initially. So I was talking about my sons. So my eldest son, Jacob, will be 11 in, like, just under 2 weeks. That's a funny story, actually. Jacob will be 11 on the 2nd of April. My ex-wife went into labour on the 1st of April. Jacob was 5 weeks early. Take a moment to let that sink in. Imagine being me on the 1st of April, 2015. Jacob's not due for another 5 weeks yet, and I am texting everybody saying that we're on our way to the hospital because Claire's in labour. In case you've not clicked yet, the 1st of April is April Fool's Day. Not a single person believed me. Haha, very funny. April Fool's, good one. That was all I got back from every single person. My mum, her brother, my brother. Nobody would listen. And it wasn't until we were in the hospital and she had her little apron on and she was sitting with the gas in air that I took a picture and sent it to everybody, and they're like, oh shit. Anyway, so Jacob, he's 11 on the 2nd of April. Kerr is just turned 7 in October. Now, my two sons could not be any more different from each other. but we're going to talk about money. Jacob, the eldest, he is incredible with money. What I mean by that is, Jacob still has Christmas money sitting in his wallet. Jacob still sometimes has birthday money sitting in his wallet at Christmas. Jacob is very specific about the things that he likes and the things that he wants, and he knows how much it is, and then he'll have to save up to get that. And it's wonderful. That's why he will have an £80 Lego set when it's not a birthday and it's not Christmas, because he has kept his money for months and he's bought it. Whereas Kerr, if I hand Kerr £80, he would go into Smith's and buy 80 things at £1. And he would buy it all at once. It's just the way he is. Can I get that? I want that. Do I have enough of this? And it's all gone. Got some work to do there. But it makes for such an interesting topic when we think about the way that we eat in a day. Now, let's bring this back to calorie counting, actually, because that works out really well. I've done a few check-ins recently where people are saying, I'm getting to dinner time, but I've only got a couple of hundred calories left. Or, it's where I'm at the end of the day and my calories are running out. They're running out very quickly. Now, one of the great things about tracking calories is that, I look at the calories, but I only really look at that to see what the variation looks like each day. And to make sure there's no kind of disordered patterns. We're not super high at the weekends and massively restricting on Mondays. I check that kind of thing. I'm more interested in the balance, because the balance tells you far more than the calories does. So somebody's getting to dinner time and they've already had 1,600 calories. Well, that tells you that you're having far too much earlier in the day. And then you look at their diet, it's low protein, low fibre, high fat, high sugar. They're having breakfast, they're having lunch, but then they're also having a bunch of snacks in between. And it's not anything that's very filling. And then we get to dinner time and there's nothing left. So the goal there is not, just in case anybody's outside and doesn't understand this, the goal there is not to not eat dinner and try and make it to the next day. You would still eat dinner. You would accept that day is going to come out higher, but you would try to do better the next day. And this is where we start talking about balance and improving the balance. But the way I think of this is if we think about my eldest son, he's able to budget, he's able to save. He understands that he doesn't have to use all the money right now. He's going to need some later on when he really does want something. And this is the thing, right? If we think of Jacob as doing the necessary spending, and we think of Kerr as doing the unnecessary spending, like Jacob's saving up and buying things he really wants. Kerr is just spending money because he has money and he's spending it on anything. If we bring this back to eating, managing your calories across the day, because you know that you're going to need to have breakfast, you're going to want to have lunch, and by the end of the day, you're going to want to have dinner, and you might even want to have something nice with a cup of tea in front of the TV after dinner. But if you're someone who likes to spend all their money, spend all their calories all at once on unnecessary stuff, you're going to get to the end of the day and have nothing. I think a lot about this. I think a lot about this stuff because it's how I'm forever trying to challenge myself to find better ways to help people faster. How can you help someone faster? How can you get them to think differently faster? Because the faster you get them to think differently, the quicker everything changes. It's not how do you help someone lose weight faster? How do you make the scales come down faster? What's the number of calories you need to put someone on? That's not it. If I could write down on a piece of paper what it would take for you to lose 2 pounds a week, right? And you would look at the number and go, cool. So all I have to do is stick to that and I'll lose 2 pounds a week. Yes. So in 5 weeks' time, I'll have lost 10 pounds. Yes. Okay, awesome. And you manage it for 3 days before you're ravenous and you can't do it anymore. On paper, it sounds great. We need to work on the way that we think. So I'm always thinking about, what changes do I need to make to the way that I coach people or the way that people work through kind of the initial material? How can I make changes to that to get people thinking differently faster, to adopting a new way of thinking faster so that their weight can come down faster, indirectly, not because you're trying to make it go faster, but because you understand a psychological aspect, you understand a mindset approach better. So when it comes to the way that we eat, right? I think most of the problems that people have with their weight. Let's bring this back to baseline. I've actually just remembered something that I want to record today as a topic. Let's bring this back to baseline, right? If you ate 3 meals a day, and those 3 meals were well balanced between protein and fiber, there's vegetables and fruits involved, there's some kind of protein source involved. Nothing dramatic, it's not you're just sitting eating chicken breast and salad. Just as long as we've got some protein and fiber in each meal, you stop eating when you start to feel full. You have 3 or 4 snacks throughout the day, half of them is fruit. And that's it. That's all the eating that you do that day. See, if you did that, you would right now be at a weight that you would be delighted with. But the trade-off is you have to do that every day. That's what it takes to live at a goal weight, right? To fuel your body properly. To fuel your body in a way that a lighter version of yourself does. 3 meals, all well balanced, stopping eating when full, 3 or 4 snacks, half of them fruit, and not eating when you're not hungry. Now, that sounds, it's like writing down a number of calories, isn't it? It sounds great. It looks great on paper. If I just do that, I'll be 4 stone lighter. Awesome. Now try and do it. You're not doing that right now because you're not that weight right now. And you're not doing that for a reason, because you have created all of these different food attachments. You do so much unnecessary eating. Your weight, most of the weight that you're carrying, is a result of all the unnecessary eating that you do. All of the snacking, eating the kids' leftovers, eating things in the car, stopping at drive-thrus, buying things because they're on a deal, walking past the cupboards in the kitchen and stopping and grabbing something every time, always saying yes when you're offered food even when you're not hungry, grabbing things in the staff room because somebody's brought a tub of celebrations in, snacking in front of the TV. The list is endless. And then there's all the other stuff, like if you're someone who drinks alcohol, you're going to weigh more. If you're someone who drinks liquid calories, whether that's fizzy drinks or milky coffees like lattes and cappuccinos, you're going to carry more weight. So it's ultimately a case of all of these extra things that you do determine how much higher your weight is going to be. And then you being able to live at a lighter weight is going to be determined by how much of those things you're willing to change or even not do anymore. So, and bringing this back to the food thing, where you do all this unnecessary eating in a day, right? Which what I mean by that is it's eating when you're not hungry, right? Eating for no purpose, not eating because your body's not asked you for anything. It doesn't need anything, but you want something. That's unnecessary eating. That's you using food for something. So you do all this unnecessary eating. Let's say let's say you're someone who needs 2,000 calories, right? And it is 2:00 in the afternoon and you have eaten 2,000 calories between breakfast, lunch, and all the extra snacks in between that you've had. By 2:00 in the afternoon, you have given your body all the energy that it needs for that day. But you still have the rest of the afternoon to go, you have dinner to go, and you have the rest of the evening to go. And now the problem is you get to dinner time and now you are genuinely hungry. Your body now genuinely needs food. You need to do necessary, essential eating. However, you've eaten all your calories for the day. And again, it's the same with money. You could spend your money on crap all the way through the month and then your car breaks down and you go, shit, I need £500 to fix this car. And you don't have it. And you would have had it had you not wasted your money on all that stuff that you didn't need during the month. And it's the exact same when it comes to our eating. So we need to get much better at not managing our calories. I don't want to say that because you shouldn't be thinking about the food that you eat as calories for the rest of your life. You need to think of it as energy. We need to get much better at managing our energy. You do not need to put all the energy that you need in a day into your body as fast as you can in as short a amount of time as you can. And we need to do much more much less unnecessary eating. Your necessary eating isn't the problem. I mean, it might be a problem, right? Your necessary eating might be imbalanced. You might not eat vegetables. You might not eat much protein. You might eat big portions. You might clear every plate, right? Yeah, those are things. However, for me, the thing that's having the much more significant impact is all that extra stuff that you do that you don't need to be doing. You need to eat every day, right? Well, no. Okay, I'll take that back. You need to fuel your body. I'm trying to be overly correct here when I say you don't need to eat every day, because that's a wrong thing to say. However, most people bypass that, right? You need to eat every day. You are going to eat every single day. However, if you don't eat for a day, you're not going to die. So please don't worry. You have necessary eating that you need to do every day, because you are going to be hungry at breakfast time and you're going to have to eat to settle that hunger. Then you're going to be hungry at lunchtime, dinner time. However, if it's 11 a.m. and you've had your breakfast and you're not hungry and you start munching your way through bags of crisps and biscuits and sweets, that's the problem. And again, it's all very good and well me saying this. It's all very easy for you to listen to it and go, oh, I just need to stop unnecessary eating then. Got it, I'll do that. It's putting it into practice that's the problem, because if it was as simple as just not doing it, then you would already be doing it. This is my big thing at the moment, right? Your weight is where it's supposed to be. It's not an accident. It's not bad luck. It's not something that shouldn't be happening to you. Your weight is always exactly where it's supposed to be. And the big thing that I was getting to was, you are not supposed to be lighter, right? Right now, you might want to be 2, 3, 4 stone lighter, but you are not supposed to be. Not yet. You're not there yet. Like, if you go follow a diet and you lose 2 stone, you are going to put that straight back on again, because you're not supposed to be there. Diets allow you to get to weights that you're not supposed to be. Think about that very carefully, right? Diets help you achieve something that you're not supposed to achieve. If you were meant to be 2 stone lighter right now, you would be. You're not. You're meant to be the weight that you are, because that is the sum value of your habits, your behaviours, your thoughts, everything. If you were meant to be 2 stone lighter, you would be. What diets do, diets allow you to follow a special set of rules, a special plan, a special set of instructions that allows you to get somewhere you're not meant to be. This is why yo-yo dieting fails, right? This is why dieting fails. This is why yo-yo dieting exists. Because there are all these plans out there in the world that help people get somewhere that they should not be. So that, this whole, I just need to get to the weight and then hope that it sticks. That doesn't work, and it will never work. And it pisses me off so much that this is just, it is the biggest scam in the world, hidden in plain sight. That's what dieting is. A massive bloody scam. Try not to swear. It is a thing that perpetuates the diet cycle. It doesn't solve it. It keeps it going. Remember, the yo-yo diet industry is not worth billions of pounds because people are losing weight and keeping it off. Statistically, people are just getting bigger. Overweight and obesity rates have done nothing but rise, but so has the number of diets that are out there. That's not a coincidence. Might not be a direct correlation. I've not looked at any studies for it, but I doubt. I don't doubt I would find some. So, how do we round this off? Yeah, I guess we could say stop wasting your calories on unnecessary stuff throughout the day, because you're going to be left with nothing later. Get better at becoming a saver. Get better at budgeting. And yeah, just understand that your weight is never not somewhere it isn't supposed to be. That was a totally backwards way of saying that. Your weight is where it's supposed to be, right? Because that is the way that you live your life. And I know this has been a kind of recurring message throughout a number of episodes now. You are a 15 stone version of yourself, 13 stone version of yourself. But I find that's one of the most helpful ways to look at it, because it allows you to take full ownership of it. Rather than thinking, oh, this keeps happening to me, or what's this one thing that's making my weight go to here? It's not one thing, it's everything. altogether equating to where you are. And the thing about, and I think one of the great things about understanding that it's not one single thing that you need to fix, because that can feel overwhelming, right? If I tell you that there are 20 things that you need to fix, 6 of them are about your diet, 14 of them are about your mindset, and each of those things that you fix is going to take 4, 5, 6 pounds off your body, that breaks it up into bite-sized pieces, right? If I can work on meal planning a bit more and being more organised, that means I'm going to eat more meals, I'm going to snack less, I'm going to spend less money on food, I'm going to save money, but it's also going to make 5 pounds of weight disappear. And then if I start going to my bed an hour earlier, if I start leaving my phone in another room so I'm not scrolling it to midnight and scrolling it the minute I wake up, I'm going to be a bit more productive, I'm going to be a bit more rested, that might lose another 3 pounds. So, anyway, Christ, I know that was all over the place, I'm sorry. I do often wonder if I've got undiagnosed ADHD sometimes, but whatever. Until next time.